Today's lesson in Algebra Prep 2 is on multiplying polynomials. Our first example here is negative 3a to the fourth b cubed times 2ab to the fourth. This is a monomial times a monomial. So notice there's no adding or subtracting together. So don't try to FOIL or do anything crazy that I've seen students do in the past. So a monomial times a monomial. We'll first start by multiplying the outside whole number parts. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Then we know that we can, when we multiply our base of a, we can add our exponents. So 4 plus the exponent of 1 gives us 5. When we multiply the base of b, we can add our exponents 3 plus 4 to get 7, for a final answer of negative 6a to the fifth b to the seventh. Let's try this one. Negative 5ab cubed times 4a to the fifth. Again, notice this is a monomial times a monomial. So I'll first start by multiplying my whole number pieces. So negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. I multiply my base of a, so I add my exponent 1 plus 5 to get a to the sixth. And I multiply my base of b cubed. Notice there is no b cubed on the right-hand monomial, so we just tack it on to the end. Here we have negative 3a times 4a squared minus 5a plus 6. So we have a monomial times a trinomial. We need to share that negative 3a with each piece inside the parentheses. So we'll start with taking negative 3a times 4a squared, or negative 12a cubed. We're multiplying our base of a, so we add our exponents. Then we'll multiply negative 3a times negative 5a, giving us a positive 15a squared. A times a is a squared. We add our exponents, 1 plus 1, which is 2. Finally, negative 3a times 6, which clearly is not 16, it should be 18. So 18a. And it'll show up on the rest of this here, but we know it's 18a. Let's multiply negative 2x times 5x plus 4. This time we have a monomial times a binomial, but the principle is still the same. We're going to distribute or share the negative 2x with both 5x and 4. So negative 2x times 5x is negative 10x squared, and negative 2x times 4 is negative 8x. Here we have 2x plus 3 times x plus 5, a binomial times a binomial. We need to share or distribute each piece with everything else. So I need to distribute the 2x to the right-hand binomial and the 3 to the right-hand binomial. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 5 gives us 10x. 3 times x is positive 3x, and positive 3 times positive 5 is 15. So every piece on the left was multiplied and distributed to everything on the right. You may notice in the middle then that we can combine like terms. So I can add 10x and 3x so that we end up with 2x squared plus 13x plus 15. Here I have 3x minus 2y times x plus 4y, another binomial times binomial, so we'll share all of our pieces. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 4y is positive 12xy. Negative 2y times x is negative 2xy. You certainly could put 2yx, but I like to keep it in alphabetical order so it's easier to combine like terms. And negative 2y times 4y is 8y squared. Again, we can combine like terms in the middle because they both have an xy, giving us 3x squared plus 10xy minus 8y squared. Let's try y squared minus 4y minus 6 times y plus 2. Here we have a trinomial times a binomial, but the distribution rule still applies. Everything on the left needs to be shared and distributed to everything on the right. So we'll take each term at a time. Y squared times y is y cubed. Y squared times 2 is a positive 2y. Now we'll move to the negative 4 and share that. Negative 4y times y is negative 4y squared. Negative 4y times positive 2 is negative 8y. And now we can move to the negative 6 and share with everything on the right. Negative 6 times y is negative 6y, and negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. We can combine like terms. We have some y squareds that can hang out together and some y's that can hang out together, giving us a total of y cubed minus 2y squared minus 14y minus 12. Notice that I keep writing these in descending order according to their exponents. Write an expression to represent the area of the triangle. So I have a base of 4x minus 3 and a height of 3x minus 2. Recall that the area of a triangle is found by taking half times base times height. So our area is going to be equal to half times our base of 4x minus 3 times our height of 3x minus 2. Now we can distribute. I'll have area is half times 4x times 3x is 12x squared. 4x times negative 2 is negative 8x. Negative 3 times 3x is negative 9x. And negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Let's combine like terms, giving us area equivalent to 1/2 times 12x squared minus 17x plus 6. We're not quite done yet because now we can distribute the 1/2. So half of 12 is 6x squared. Half times negative 17 is negative 17 halves x. And half times 6 is positive 3. In this instance, we have 4 times 3d squared plus 5d minus d times d squared minus 7d plus 12. Notice I almost have two separate problems here. So we first need to distribute the 4, and then we'll distribute the negative d to their each respective parentheses. So we'll start with 4 times 3d squared, giving us 12d squared. And 4 times 5d is positive 20d. Then we can continue on and multiply our negative d. Negative 1d times d squared is negative d cubed. Negative d times negative 7d is positive 7d squared. And negative d times 12 is negative 12d. We'll combine like terms while writing in descending order. So we will start with the d cubes. I see I have a negative 1d cubed. Then I'll move on to my d squared. So 12d squared plus 7d squared is 19d squared. And finally, 20d minus 12d is 8d.